Today, we are back with a brand new arc from the Marvel Rivals Infinity comic book run. And today, we're jumping straight into issue 37. And trust me, this issue quietly sets up something much bigger, involving Hydra, Arnim Zola, and even a creature that Galacta barely takes seriously, at least for now. Stick around to the end because the final reveal completely shifts the tone of this arc. Before we do anything else, let's take a look at the front cover, because it gives us some major clues about what to expect. Front and center, of course, we see Galacta, who oversees all of the events within the Marvel Rivals Infinity comic run. But what's even more interesting are the three characters positioned beneath her. On the left, we have Bucky Barnes. On the right, we have Hawkeye. And if I recall correctly, this is actually his first appearance in the Marvel Rivals comic run. But most importantly, and most excitingly, right in the center, we have Arnim Zola. And whenever Arnim Zola is involved, you already know things are about to get serious. His presence alone tells us that Hydra is going to play a major role in this arc. What's especially interesting about seeing Bucky Barnes again is that the last time we saw him was under very different circumstances. Previously, we saw Luna Snow in Kunlun get herself involved in an argument between Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier, and Namor, King of Atlantis. And what were they arguing about? Apparently, Namor seems to think that squids are more intelligent than cats. And not only that, but that squids are superior cuddlers, especially when you tickle them under their tentacles. Before the argument could escalate into a full-blown fight, Luna Snow intervened by singing, appealing to their calmer sides. That moment ended with both Namor and Bucky attending a Luna Snow gig, alongside the rest of our favorite heroes. This issue, however, takes a very different tone. We now see that Bucky Barnes is on a serious mission, far removed from any Luna Snow gigs or playful banter. So let's jump into Marvel Rivals Infinity issue 37. As always, Galacta provides the overview, letting us know that these events take place in what she describes as a lovely place called Mavev. She even comments, "I don't eat planets, but if I did, I don't think the universe would miss this one much." From the visuals alone, it's clear that Mavev is a dead planet. And if the name Mavev sounds familiar, that's because longtime Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans will recognize it as the same hellish planet tied to the TV series. So let me know in the comments if you picked up on that connection right away. As a small ship lands on the surface, we see Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier, step out. Nearby, he notices a figure in a green uniform, kneeling in the dirt and repeatedly muttering, "He will rise! He will rise!" over and over again. Bucky approaches cautiously, surveying the wreckage around the man. Bucky comments that the debris belongs to a Hydra military transport, but the damage doesn't look like a crash. It's clear that the Hydra agent is trapped on this planet with no transportation to leave. Bucky says, "This wasn't an accident. Who did this? Soldier, tell me and I'll get you home." Home to a prison cell, but a prison cell on Earth. The man's uniform is torn, clearly showing signs of a fight. And most importantly, he's wearing a Hydra insignia. Turning to Bucky, the agent says he'll tell him everything. He promises a story, ancient and mystical, about Hive's creation, how he came to be, and how he came to find himself on the planet of death. He insists that once Bucky hears the story, his eyes will finally be opened. Bucky Barnes is not interested. He simply replies, "Pass," before kicking the Hydra agent in the face. And this moment really reinforces where Bucky is mentally right now. He's not here for answers, speeches, or justification. This is a man who's already heard Hydra stories before, and he knows exactly how they end. As Bucky stands there, clearly unfazed, Galacta comments from above, sounding almost disappointed. "Really? That sounded like a pretty good story to me." She's clearly more intrigued than Bucky is. Bucky then notices multiple footprints leading away from the site and decides to follow them. He climbs up into what looks like a small cave, weapon raised and ready. Peering inside, he finally speaks. "There you are, Arnim Zola." Inside, we see Arnim Zola operating out of a makeshift laboratory. surrounded by Hydra agents. For anyone unfamiliar, Arnim Zola isn't just another Hydra scientist. He's one of the key figures behind the Winter Soldier program, directly responsible for much of Bucky's conditioning, control, and years of suffering. Arnim Zola looks up and says, "Winter Soldier, you've returned to me." Bucky responds immediately, "No, never. I came to end your madness." But if I'd known your ship was already doomed, Arnim Zola interrupts, demanding to know how Bucky arrived. Through a portal? Where is it? Bucky confirms there was no portal. He says he crossed the void the old-fashioned way, in a ship, specifically a light cargo vessel remodeled and retrofitted by Shuri. Before Arnim Zola can respond, one of the Hydra agents panics and in his frantic state says, "Did you hear that? He has a ship." Another agent adds, "There won't be room for all of us." The Hydra agents immediately panic and flee, sprinting towards the cave exit and completely ignoring Arnim Zola. And that reaction alone tells you everything you need to know about how dangerous this situation really is. These are Hydra soldiers, trained, indoctrinated, and ruthless. And the moment survival is threatened, discipline completely collapses. Arnim Zola shouts after them in rage and fear, "No, we need a plan. He's still out there, you fools." It is truly worrying to see someone like Arnim Zola terrified of what potentially lurks outside of the cave. As the agents escape into the open, one of them is suddenly knocked violently to the ground. From beneath the planet's surface, massive tentacles erupt, tearing through the environment. This is Hive, a horrifying otherworldly being unlike anything we've seen so far in Marvel Rivals Infinity. Bucky can only stare in shock and mutter, "Whiskey, Tango, Foxtrot." And if you know the phonetic alphabet, then you know what Bucky is trying to say. And while all of this chaos unfolds on the surface of Maveth, Galacta can't even pretend to be impressed. She yawns and says, "So that's Hive? Is he supposed to be tall or something? I'm not trying to be a hater, he just doesn't seem that tall to me." Not exactly the nicest thing to say about this terrifying creature. And when Galacta downplays a threat this casually, it's rarely a good sign. In Marvel Rivals, her indifference often comes right before events spiral completely out of control. With Hive unleashed, Arnim Zola exposed, and Hydra trapped on this dead planet, this arc is clearly shaping up to be something dangerous, especially as Bucky Barnes continues his mission alone. And if you're still craving more Marvel Rivals content, then make sure to check out my Marvel Rivals playlists, or check out the rest of my channel where I upload content just like this every single week. But for the meantime, peace, peace, peace!